First things first. Look who's here. He's here. He's here. And that guy's here. Former All-Pro running back Brian Westbrook joins the show and the conversation. How you doing, Brian?
I'm doing well. How are you guys? Happy New Year.
We're great. Happy New Year.
That's right. That's right.
Oh, that's
got ourselves a playoff win on the road. Important.
It was a good one. All right, the Saints and Eagles will now face off on Sunday for the second time this season. The first time it was a beatdown. Saints winning 48-7. Carson Wentz was under center at the time. That was before the Eagles' magic run started with Nick Foles still relegated to backup duty. Malcolm Jenkins spoke about the team's mindset now returning to New Orleans.
At that point in time, obviously, that's a low point in our season. But, you know, at no point do you doubt who you have in your locker room. You just know you got to put it together. And since then, I think we responded and earned our opportunity to go back down there.
All right, Brian, it's a simple question. How do the Eagles now go back, make adjustments, and beat the Saints? And your answer can't just be Nick Foles. It has to be something in addition.
Well, Nick Foles certainly plays a big part, but when you look at this Eagles team, they're a much better team than they were in Week 11 against the Saints. And, of course, the Saints put up 48 points. But since then, defensively, they've got a lot of guys more healthy. Avonte Maddox, a big addition on the defensive side. Trey Sullivan playing better. The defensive line has played much better, reminiscent of last year. They're getting after the quarterback and making it harder on the opposing quarterback. They've only given up 19 points per game since that game against the Saints. And that's a really good defensive effort, especially with a lot of injuries that they've had. Offensively, when you talk about what happened in that Saints game, they take away Zach Ertz. And at that point, Carson Wentz was solely focused on getting the ball to Zach Ertz, and they didn't have an answer. They had no answer for anyone else to try to get the ball to Alshon, try to get the ball to Nelson Aguilar. They couldn't figure it out. And now when you have Nick Foles in there, you have a quarterback that wants to get the ball to a lot of different people. 7, 8 guys catching the ball, different guys getting involved offensively. That means a defense can't solely focus on one guy. Totally different offense and defense. That's the one thing that you can lean on for the Eagles to try to get a victory.
Yeah, we expect the Eagles to do something from a schematic standpoint, X's and O's standpoint, who they're going to target as far as that Saints defense, who they're going to attack. But how much do you think that the Eagles, just in the back of their mind, Malcolm Jenkins, you talk about those 48 points, and when you watch that game, that was humiliating. Man, it was humiliating.
They ran it up a little bit.
Yeah. How much from your professional experience that embarrassment you think will motivate these Eagles against the Saints?
When you talk about motivation, when you look at what they did last year, the underdog, the mass, it's us against the world. That's what the Eagles were all about. Then really the city of Philadelphia is all about that. And now they're getting that mojo back a little bit. Nobody believes in us.
They had to kind of really go out of it, you know, because once you win the championship, you can't be the underdog. But now that they play bad, no playoff hopes, they get in.
When you're 4-5 and you get blown out so badly that Malcolm Jenkins is flipping the bird to the opposing sideline, you are an underdog again.
That's right.
Like, you all of a sudden, you can reclaim that mantle.
Well, you're the 6th seed. Now they're wearing these ski masks. There's a different mentality there, different thought process. I also kind of believe they have a lot of veterans on this football team, and they understand the importance of playoff games. They understand the importance of playing better at the end of the season. They've done a much better job. Different football team now than a few weeks ago.
I really wonder what Drew Brees and Sean Payton and the Saints were thinking watching that Sunday night game, Bears-Eagles, because they were either going to play the Cowboys if the Bears won, or if the Eagles won, they're obviously playing the Eagles. And they played the Cowboys and lost to them. It was their worst offensive game of the year. They played the Eagles and whooped them. Their best offensive game of the year. I still think they would have rather played the Cowboys. Yeah. I think that the New Orleans Saints were looking at that game and saying, man, like, if the Eagles are able to come away with this one, with the championship experience, with the momentum of the last month of football, with whatever superstitious belief they have in Foles, and the revenge factor, I bet the Saints were disappointed that the Eagles beat the Bears and that they're getting them instead of getting the Dallas Cowboys.
Two of the biggest things in professional football, sports, in life, is confidence and momentum. Right now, the Eagles have momentum, and they have a lot of confidence. They went into Chicago and took that game from the best defense in the league. They went in and found a way against the best defense, one of the better teams in the league. They did that. Now they're going against the Saints. They have a chip on their shoulder. They're mad. They're upset. and I think it's would be a good opportunity for the Eagles to try to get a win.
Listen, it's not the most popular topic right now to talk about the word, at least on this set, magic with Nick Foles. It is no doubt this team is playing much better. It happens to coincide with when Nick Foles took over under center. They're healthier. Guys that weren't playing well in the beginning of the season are playing well. It happens to be while Nick Foles is playing quarterback for this team. And you wonder if the guys in this locker room, and you laughed when Nick brought up the word superstitious. You kind of laughed a little bit. There's something going on, and maybe they like playing with that, you know, underdog mentality, but there is something going on since Nick Foles took over.
You're right. I laugh because in the city of Philadelphia, you hear and you see Saint Nick signs. There's a Saint. They have a shrine in the locker room. We've seen that, talked about that before. But you're right. Guys are playing much better around him. Jason Peters had his best game of the year last week. Lane Johnson playing much better after the Pro Bowl snub. And I just think offensive line, protection-wise, they're playing totally different. But also Nick does something that Carson wasn't willing to do. He's getting more guys involved. I mean, it's almost as simple as that. Doug has been committed to the run, and offensively, they're just hard to defend. Defenses want to key on one thing. They want to say, hey, we know on third down they're going to run. They know they're going to pass on third down. With this offense, you don't have that ability to do that because so many guys are involved.
So here's the thing. I was thinking about this a lot last night because I don't believe in magic. But I do know for a scientific fact there is something known as the placebo effect, right? You take a group of people, tell them where you're all taking a pill to make you healthier. Some of them get it, some of them get a sugar pill. And yet some of the people who get that sugar pill start to feel better, start to feel healthier because the mind has tricked them. I wonder, even if magic's not real, if enough people in the Philly locker room believe there's magic there, do they start playing better? Is there a football placebo effect of Nick Foles coming into that locker room? Now all of a sudden you are playing better, that it's not just coincidental? Because I'm running out of explanations because I'm not a superstitious person. I'm not someone that believes you got to sit on this couch, you got to watch a game this way. But I am seeing this team play its best football in a calendar year.
The placebo effect is we believe in us. Because at no point do you think, and this is where the magic carpet ride, at no point do you think, and you've played on some teams that played well with the backup. You don't think that your job is easier. You start focusing on the fine details and be like, my job is more important now because we have a backup. So we start doing that together, and I care about my fellow brother. I care about my teammate. In that togetherness, that's what makes teams get on a winning streak. That's what makes teams play beyond their ability. Yeah, you might think on the surface, this guy came in, but there's too many things going right for Philadelphia. You mentioned the play calling. You mentioned the running game. You mentioned spreading the ball out, attacking the field, taking care of the football. Man, the defensive front playing better, the offensive line getting healthier. Like, those are real football facts that make teams play better and help you win games.
To your point, we had Jeff Garcia come in when Donovan got hurt. And the first practice, I'll never forget it, the first walkthrough, Jeff comes in and says, listen, everybody shut up. Listen to me. I'm the guy. I'm the man in the huddle at this point. That makes you feel confident.
He sounded like a starter.
You sound like a guy that you want to follow that guy and go to work with him. Jeff did a great job with that. And I think the same feeling is with Nick. This is a guy that won the Super Bowl for us. He's a Super Bowl MVP. You insert him into the huddle, and your team has a much more confidence.
And you mentioned the most important things in life or in sports are confidence and momentum. And to be able to pull in your memory, preferably recent memory, of experience of having done it. When the Eagles found themselves down 5 to the Bears late in that game on the last drive, they could go 2 weeks back to being down to the Houston Texans in a game that also could have ended their season. And knowing we drove the field there to get the game-winning field goal. Like, they know that. And they did that with this quarterback. They know that they have the ability to do these things with this quarterback because they've done it. I think that helps them a ton as well.
All right, Brian, stick around. Got to take a break. Coming up, can Ezekiel Elliott power the Cowboys to a win over the Rams? That's next on First Things First.
I thought Nick was going to say when he comes into a room, he has like a placebo.
No.
I was like, whoa.